Is it better to look for a relationship when you're younger or when you're older? It's a question that quietly shapes an entire generation. For some people, the answer seems obvious. Focus on yourself first. Build your career. Become financially stable. Learn independence. Avoid heartbreak. Avoid distraction. For others, the answer is the opposite. Build relationships early. Grow with someone. Learn intimacy while you're still emotionally flexible. Create bonds before life hardens into routine and self-preservation. But maybe the real question is deeper than timing. Maybe the real question is, what happens to people when they spend their formative years building life alone versus building life alongside someone else? Let's explore this from both angles. In today's world, relationships between men and women often feel more strained than they once did. Conversations online increasingly bleed into real-life, shaping trust, communication, vulnerability, and emotional openness. But this idea of foregoing relationships is not solely an internet phenomenon. For many people, it begins at home. Parents often teach their children to be cautious about relationships, not necessarily from bitterness, but from protection. They don't want their children repeating the same mistakes they made. A father who experienced divorce may teach his son, protect yourself emotionally. Don't sacrifice too much. Never become too vulnerable. A mother who experienced betrayal or emotional exhaustion may teach her daughter, never depend on a man. Don't trust too easily. Make sure you can survive on your own first. These lessons usually come from love mixed with pain. If you enjoy the content I create, please hit the like and subscribe. Parents who suffer deeply in relationships often try to protect their children from experiencing that same suffering. But unintentionally, fear can become part of the inheritance. Many people from older generations experienced relationships young. They fell in love early. They married early. They struggled, sacrificed, compromised, raised families, endured hardships, and sometimes divorced painfully. But when those relationships ended badly, what was often passed down wasn't the full experience of love, growth, companionship, and shared meaning. What got passed down was the pain. Children inherited warnings more than wisdom. Over time, pain became louder than perspective. The next generation absorbed relationships primarily as a risk of betrayal, risk of manipulation, risk of emotional damage, risk of losing oneself. Modern culture reinforces this constantly. Social media algorithms reward outrage and conflict. Negative relationship stories spread faster than healthy ones. People consume endless content about cheating, divorce, emotional abuse, manipulation, financial exploitation, and gender hostility. Rarely do people broadcast the quiet stability of healthy partnerships. So many young people now approach relationships already emotionally guarded, expecting collapse before intimacy even begins. At the same time, modern society increasingly promotes radical independence. Many people choose to delay relationships while focusing on career development, education and financial success, fitness and self-discovery, emotional self-protection. In fact, foregoing relationships at a younger age can create discipline, ambition, self-reliance, clarity of identity, and personal freedom. People learn how to survive alone. They become adaptable, capable, independent. But there can also be hidden costs. When someone spends too many formative years building life entirely around themselves, they often develop highly individualized emotional systems built on control, routine, self-protection, and independence. Over time, compromise can begin to feel unnatural. Relationships require skills that cannot fully be learned alone: patience, emotional regulation, conflict resolution, forgiveness, vulnerability, shared responsibility, and the ability to emotionally coexist with another imperfect human being. Someone may become highly successful individually while remaining inexperienced relationally. In some cases, prolonged solitude slowly hardens into emotional guardedness. Vulnerability starts to feel unsafe. Dependence feels dangerous. Emotional openness feels like weakness. Independence, once healthy, can slowly transform into defense. And the longer a person builds life entirely around personal control, the harder it may become to genuinely let another person into that structure. This is why the bond-building years of youth matter. When people build healthy relationships earlier in life, they often grow together rather than attempting to merge fully formed adult identities later on. Younger relationships allow people to learn partnership while they are still emotionally adaptable. They learn how to communicate through insecurity, how to repair after conflict, how to compromise, how to support another person emotionally, and how to build shared meaning through time. Not every young relationship succeeds, but healthy early relationships can also create emotional literacy, resilience, realistic expectations, empathy, and relational competence that are difficult to develop through isolation alone. There is something uniquely powerful about building a life beside someone during formative years. Struggling together, growing together, failing together, adapting together, and creating memories before adulthood becomes entirely centered around self-protection and optimization. Modern culture often overemphasizes autonomy while underestimating the human need for attachment. People are encouraged to become completely self-sufficient before allowing themselves to love. But human beings were never designed to exist as entirely isolated systems. The challenge is balance. A healthy life requires both: the ability to stand alone and the ability to deeply bond without losing yourself. Independence matters. Self-development matters. But so does learning intimacy before fear, cynicism, and hyper-independence become permanent emotional architecture. One of the deeper tragedies of modern culture is that many people still deeply desire love, partnership, devotion, family, and emotional safety, but they increasingly approach those desires through layers of inherited fear and cultural suspicion. And yet beneath all the defensiveness, beneath the cynicism, beneath the conflict between men and women, most people are still searching for the same thing they always have been: to be understood, to be chosen, to grow beside someone, and to build a life that feels shared, rather than survived alone. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe.